South Korea's story is one of the most remarkable transformations in modern history. A journey from ancient kingdoms and foreign invasions to war, poverty, and finally to becoming one of the world's most advanced and influential nations. The roots of Korean civilization stretch back thousands of years to early tribal societies that eventually formed powerful kingdoms such as Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla. During the Three Kingdoms period, these kingdoms competed fiercely for control of the peninsula, while developing sophisticated systems of governance, art and culture heavily influenced by China yet distinctly Korean in identity. In the 7th century, Silla unified most of the peninsula, ushering in an era of cultural flourishing. Buddhist influence and technological progress followed centuries later by the Goryeo dynasty, from which the name Korea originates, a period known for exquisite Celadon pottery and the creation of the Tripitaka Koreana, one of the most complete collections of Buddhist scriptures carved onto wooden blocks. The Joseon dynasty, which began in 3092, shaped Korea's social structure and values for over 500 years, establishing Confucianism as the guiding philosophy of governance, emphasizing education, family loyalty, and social harmony. During this era, King Sejong the Great created Hangul, the Korean alphabet, in the 15th century, an achievement that empowered common people with literacy and remains one of Korea's proudest cultural accomplishments. Despite cultural brilliance, Korea faced repeated invasions, including devastating attacks from Japan in the late 16th century and incursions from the Manchus in the 17th century, which reinforced a cautious foreign policy that later earned Korea the nickname the Hermit Kingdom. By the late 19th century, as imperial powers competed for influence in East Asia, Korea found itself caught between China, Japan, and Russia. And after Japan's victory in the Russo-Japanese War, Korea was formally annexed by Japan in 1910, beginning 35 years of colonial rule marked by cultural suppression, economic exploitation, and resistance movements as Koreans fought to preserve their identity and independence. When Japan surrendered at the end of World War II in 1945, Korea was liberated but immediately divided along the 38th parallel, with the Soviet Union occupying the North and the United States supporting the South, a temporary arrangement that hardened into permanent division as Cold War tensions intensified. In 1948, two separate governments were established, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in the north and the Republic of Korea in the south, setting the stage for one of the most tragic conflicts of the 20th century. In 1950, North Korean forces crossed the 38th parallel, launching the Korean War, a brutal and devastating conflict that drew in United Nations forces led by the United States and Chinese troops supporting the North. Cities were destroyed. Millions of civilians were displaced or killed, and families were permanently separated when an armistice was signed in 1953, leaving the peninsula divided by the heavily fortified demilitarized zone that still exists today. After the war, South Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world, its infrastructure shattered, an economy dependent on foreign aid. Yet the decades that followed would redefine its destiny. Through strong state-led economic planning beginning in the 1960s, South Korea focused on export-driven industrialization, investing in education, infrastructure, and manufacturing, transforming from an agrarian society into a global industrial powerhouse in what became known as the Miracle on the Han River. Major family-owned conglomerates, called chabos, such as Samsung, Hyundai, and LG, expanded rapidly, producing electronics, automobiles, and ships that reached markets across the globe, while the government prioritized science and engineering education, creating a highly skilled workforce. Political development was not always smooth. For years, South Korea was governed by authoritarian leaders who limited political freedoms in the name of stability and growth, but widespread protests in the 1980s led to democratic reforms. And by 1987, the country adopted a more open political system with direct presidential elections, marking a significant step toward mature democracy. Hosting the 1988 Seoul Olympics symbolized South Korea's emergence onto the global stage as a confident and modern nation. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, South Korea continued to innovate, becoming a global leader in technology, semiconductors, robotics, and internet connectivity, with one of the fastest broadband networks in the world and a reputation for cutting-edge research and development. At the same time, South Korea experienced a powerful cultural renaissance known as the Korean Wave, or Hallyu spreading Korean dramas, films, and music worldwide. K-pop groups such as BTS and Blackpink topped international charts, while films like Parasite won global awards showcasing Korea's creative influence and soft power. Despite its success, South Korea faces ongoing challenges, including tensions with North Korea, whose nuclear ambitions create regional instability, as well as domestic issues such as an aging population, low birth rates, high housing costs, and intense academic and workplace competition that can place pressure on young people. Yet South Korea's resilience is deeply rooted in its history of survival and adaptation, from ancient kingdoms and invasions to colonization, war, and economic hardship. Each era shaping a society that values perseverance, education, and collective effort. Today, South Korea stands as one of the world's largest economies, a vibrant democracy, and a technological leader, balancing ancient traditions such as Confucian, respect for elders and ancestral rights with futuristic skylines, smart cities, and global digital connectivity. Its journey from devastation in the 1950s to prosperity within a single generation remains one of the most inspiring national transformations in modern history, proving that with vision, unity, and determination, a nation can rise from the ashes of war to become a symbol of innovation, culture, and hope in the 21st century.